There's only one candidate on the ballot on Super Tuesday with this answer to the question, what should the income tax rate on citizens be? 0. It should be 0. I am Mark Stewart Greenstein. Let me back this up. We got through a century and a half without a high income tax, okay? Even into the 1920s, when there was a little income tax authorized, it was on a slim percentage of people, and it was on a low percent, 6% of their highest levels of income, okay? For the last 100 years, we have had takings for no good reason. The U.S. prospered fine into the 1920s without an income tax. Nobody starved. Programs got done. And that would be the case today, even more so without an income tax. So let me address the typical whine. But we can't do without. Yes, we can. Governments at state levels do without very frequently. They actually have budgets that they adhere to. The U.S. could have a budget that is very slim with individuals and private organizations doing social welfare the way they want to, not the way the few bureaucrats in the government might want to. So, example, the FDA. A relatively small group of people. It's not a huge amount, but it's an oppressive set of guidelines. They've approved bad drugs. They have, even worse, not approved good drugs. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. These probably would have saved lives. We're pretty sure that they did for those who managed to get hold of them despite FDA restrictions. And most importantly, they keep many good drugs from getting to the market in the first place. They're not needed, okay? There's plenty of private peer reviews, private studies that don't need the FDA to put their stamp of approval or disapproval on. What about university research? Now, a lot of corporate welfare is based on university research. We give a lot of money to universities that corporations take advantage of. Well, they'll still pay for valuable research without the government in the middle of it. I might approve it for military use only. That's it. But look at all the university research that's useless. Examining Neanderthal fossils, or even present day, looking at better hair dyes, improving one's stamina in the bedroom, Viagra, making thermal clothing. If there's a need or a profit out there for a good development, it will get developed without government corporate welfare. And look, let's say $3,000 of your taxes that now go to corporate welfare were eliminated. Instead, you had that money. You'd have $3,000 to invest, and maybe it would be in Viagra, and you'd make $50,000 or more. So let individuals decide. Now, the big thing that we should be slimming down, but not eliminating, that's the military. It is a proper use. It is constitutionally permitted, and it's the essence of keeping governance. But not military missions that are bloated and might even cause animosity or even warfare overseas. We have deployed on the DMZ between North and South Korea, 30,000 soldiers. You can bring them home. One submarine, let's say 2 submarines in the area is a sufficient deterrent. As soon as there's an incursion from north to south, that's what we're worried about, of even 1 mile of troops and tanks rolling in. Minutes later is an attack sub's SLCM launch. Those guys are devastated if they haven't turned back. As a deep backup, you have an SLBM that would obliterate most of the forces back home. All right, all these non-necessary or overly expensive endeavors when it comes to military mean our budget could be 1/5 of what it is. And on $1 trillion instead of $5 trillion a year, you can get that with no income tax. On citizens anyway. I am okay with an income tax on corporations. I'm okay with an income tax on non-citizens until they become citizens and while they're working and extracting money. I happen to like the following types of taxes. I like use fees. Use fees for what the government is doing that you're taking advantage of, pay for it. Park fees, that makes sense. Potentially interstate highway tolls, that's a use fee, that makes sense. Ports that the U.S. government has some inspection authority over, potentially a use fee there. I like lotteries. Only the people who want to play are paying. I do like an inheritance tax. You're getting plenty of money anyway for doing nothing but having a dead relative. Again, corporate income tax, I think that is reasonable given that corporations have a big advantage thanks to the government on limited liability. That's my take. Zero income tax. It's doable. We should work towards it.